but sit down, please. Saying, but you can sit down, continue singing.
Welcome to this special edition of Special Assignment. My name is Aldrin Simpier, and welcome to Metsimaholo. We are live from Zamdela. This is the Henry Kwala Multi-Purpose Center. You might be wondering why we're out here. We're actually here ahead of the local government election that will be taking place here in this municipality specifically. It is here in Metsimaholo that there will be a rerun of the elections that will be taking place on Wednesday. But what really brought us here is quite important. It is because of the ANC versus the SACP. And as you know, that on this program, we've been focusing on the ANC's elective conference that will be taking place in December. And one of the things that we're trying to find out is how exactly, what would happen rather after the ANC's elective conference if you have the possibility of the SACP contesting state power. As we know that that is a resolution that they've taken. You can see the audience here. We've invited a number of political parties, and also what we will be discussing is the politics of coalition governance. We have the DA, we have the MCA, we have the SACP, we have the ANC, as well as the EFF will be part of this discussion. Let me just quickly introduce my guest. We have Mjalifa Simango, who is joining us from the SACP. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And then we have Victor Nyembe from MCA. From the EFF, we have April Mutaong.
Amandla.
And from the DA, we have Patricia Kopane. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much for having us this evening.
And then we have Thabo Mabasa. Thabo, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thabo, let me actually start with you. Did you ever see this happening, a point where you'll have the ANC and the SACP sitting next to each other but contesting each other?
No, the South African Communist Party, it's a partner, it's an alliance with us, but we must also agree that this alliance is a living organism. And the SACP, as independent organization, they have the right to contest these elections. And we don't see any problem. If the structures of the Communist Party took a decision to contest elections, who are we to stop them?
Does it not have an impact on the alliance, though?
Not necessarily, because indeed we'll agree that we are sharing the same base, but in terms of generally voters on the ground, we don't see having a threat Communist Party by contesting us. We are confident that we still have our base and working very hard to keep it.
Patricia, you've always been in politics, and I wanted to ask you this. I know that you are from the DA, but have you ever thought that you'll see a day where this would be happening, where you'd find that the SACP will be contesting the elections against the ANC?
Aldrin, if you remember very well, this started during the time of Thabo Mbeki. SACP, they've been threatening to stand on their own.
Yeah.
So this has been coming on for a very long time. And it's unfortunate that they took so long to stand on themselves, because they've been under the shadow of the ANC for a very long time. So this is the democracy, but what I can tell you, I don't see the difference between the SACP for now and ANC. So we'll see after the 29th what is going to happen. So in front of the majority of many people, we don't trust the SACP. We still believe they are going to work with the ANC after the municipality, after the 29th elections. So it has been coming on for a very long time. So it's just unfortunate now what happened. Do you remember the former minister, Blade Nzimande, was removed. So it's one of the decisions that forced them to say now is the time, because the president doesn't even listen to us. They've been saying that President Zuma must be removed. So president never wanted to be removed. So the SACP, they've been fighting that. So it will be very interesting what is going to happen. But I think we fight the same fight. We fight the ANC together, maybe.
And I guess that's why Metsimaholo is what we seem to be calling a microcosm of the possibility of what could happen. Let me just quickly bring in April here. April, Patricia has now just spoken about the SACP will be working together with the ANC, and it's just a front. Some have also mooted the possibility of the EFF even working together with the SACP.
Thank you very much. As the EFF, we are not going to work with the SACP. Let me start by saying to you that the SACP is still the ANC, but the ANC is using the SACP in the elections of Metsimaholo by-elections because the ANC lost the support, the voter base in Metsimaholo. It is their strategic point that they must use the SACP to contest the elections so that they may gain a support. But it's not going to happen because the community of Metsimaholo, the voters in Metsimaholo, they know exactly that the SACP and the ANC is one and the same thing.
Victor, the interesting part about Metsimaholo, and as I said earlier on about the interesting dynamics of this municipality, upon a political level, even if you look at the Metsimaholo Community Association, part of the people who's endorsing the MCA is a former ANC staunch member, and that is Umekoza. She's saying that she supports the MCA. Is it a surprise at all?
Look, from our side, that didn't come as a surprise. Remember, Dr. Makosi Koza is one of the people who always stood for what we call principles. She's very principled. That is why we've also allowed her to come here, simply because of the principle. Besides being a former member of the ANC, but she's still the community member with credibility. That's why as the MCA, we have allowed her to come here and endorse the MCA because she strongly believes in what we call the moral compass. She's one of the most leaders who are having what we call the moral compass. That's why we've allowed her to come here as a credible leader. As the MCA, that's what we are striving to achieve, to have credible leaders within ourselves and the society of Metsimaholo.
Mujalifa.
Yes, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that
You're the last person, because I wanted you to sweep this out, to give us an understanding of what has brought us to this point.
Especially after the comment of EFF, it's a reflection of complete lack of understanding of what is an alliance, but mostly a failure to intend to understand what is an alliance. SACP and the African National Congress are not the same. The other one is a class party, the other one it's a multi-class party, so that is important, but I think the EFF will go into these basic philosophies. But the whole reason why the South African Communist Party is contesting elections, it is among others the tendencies that have developed in the Free State of ill-treating workers in particular and treating communities as if leadership in government is making them a favor. For example, the dismissal of 320 workers in Metsimaholo 3 years back, it's a total reflection that there is a complete undermining of workers in the Free State, municipalities and provincial government. And as the SACP, we could not take it anymore. Why? Because the Communist Party is born out of the sweat and the blood of workers. So that is the first issue why we contest elections. But secondly, you will have realized that the state of services, as you arrived here, it is not up to standard. And as the Communist Party, we feel the poor and the vulnerable masses of our people, they deserve better than what they have been receiving, even from the unholy coalition. We have seen nothing that has represented what people in Metsimaholo are intending to.
The allegations that you raise are not merely allegations here in the Free State only, but they're also playing out at a national level. For instance, at the national level, we've heard the SACP saying that they've warned President Jacob Zuma against the reshuffle, especially the one where the former finance minister was reshuffled. So there is this constant, what it seems to be, it almost seems to be that the ANC and the SACP is in this marriage, but this marriage is not working. Somebody's being abused, but somebody's not walking away. They remain in this marriage, an abusive relationship, and yet nobody's willing to walk away.
That's the only disadvantage that we have. For instance, you will know that the SACP, COSATU, and SANGO, and all alliance partners, including ordinary people, when we go for elections, it is the work of all of us in the past that the ANC will be the leader of the alliance and so forth. But when it enters into important decisions, you'll find that all these formations, including the political party called the South African Communist Party, is not part of it. For instance, all coalitions in the country, the Communist Party leadership was not part of it, and this has been a problem to us.
Is this the last time that the SACP will be contesting elections, or it's just you know, testing the waters, whether post-2019 the SACP will see the SACP on more ballot papers, on by-elections, and probably post-2019 as well?
We can't test with the lives of people, The Communist Party can't begin to do that. The lives of our people, those who are unemployed, cannot be subjected to political laboratory. We are starting to contest elections. And as long as this tendency to undermine communities grows in the country, this tendency to undermine workers continues and continues to deepen, particularly in public sector, the South African Communist Party will rise in defense of communities and workers in particular.
Let me just quickly bring in Thabo on this one. Because at the heart of political parties is the issue to win the hearts and the minds of the electorate, to service the electorate. And the ANC, for instance, in this municipality in particular, back in 2011, it was sitting at around 60% of the votes. That vote dwindled more than 20%. You lost more than 20% of the vote. How do you even begin to explain that?
Yes, indeed. We have noticed that since 2011, our support base has decreased. And that is why, as the African National Congress, we have retreated and started to see where our mistakes, and we have identified some of the challenges that were faced by our people. What are those
mistakes?
Come again?
What are those mistakes?
No, not. Part of the mistakes is interactions. We had some councillors, and some of them, they've even left the organization, who were not even communicating with the communities. And that is one crisis that our people were raising. And that is why we made a commitment to these councillors who are coming in from Wednesday, that they have obligation of continuously engaging our communities, give them feedback, because we want accountable councillors. And we think the councillors that were nominated by our communities are going to do just that, to interact with our community, to give the community progress, even if those programs or those promises were not committed, but they must come back and tell our people where are the challenges. And that is what we think we have resolved. We have dedicated people who are really servant of the people, who are going to work for our communities.
One of the issues that the ANC will be battling with at its elective conference is the issue of who becomes an ANC member and how they become an ANC member, and what's the purpose behind them joining the party, and how do you find the ANC being in such a situation where there's so many parties that are contesting the ANC for state power and being it to win over the will and the mandate from the electorate. Let's go to a quick ad break, and after this ad break we'll explore more issues ahead of the ANC's elective conference, but also specifically focusing on this municipality and the dynamics from this municipality.
I think winter is definitely one of those seasons where you can really show off your sartorial choices. You can start from a single layer of a shirt, actually starting with thermals, build it up with the shirts. You can have beautiful knits over the shirts, like we've done with Jay.
This film tells the story of a very, very significant political figure in the struggle for freedom in South Africa, who happened to be a woman. She was Nelson Mandela's wife.
The exhibition is an exploration into black femininity. Tabitha is a woman of colour, and she is exploring the historical exploitation of the black female body.
Newtown Junction Mall hosted an epic contest in the cold where 3 top South African graffiti artists battled it out for the opportunity to become the Newtown Graffiti Face-Off Master.
For your weekly dose of entertainment news, tune into Trends every Saturday from 12 to 1.
Live Saturday and Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Assignment ahead of the ANC's elective conference, but today we are live at the Herikwala Multipurpose Center here in Zamdela and speaking to various political parties that will be contesting the rerun of the elections that will be taking place on Wednesday, and those political parties are joining us now at the moment. Patricia, let me just quickly throw you in. The politics of coalitions. As you know, of this show specifically, we focus on the ANC's elective conference that's coming up. But some have been saying that if you look at 2019, for instance, what will happen, and I've been speaking even to the chairperson of the ANC in Gauteng, Paul Mashadile, and he said that in 2019, the possibility of a coalition is there. But you've tested the coalition here in Metsimaholo and it didn't work.
Aldo, let me explain to you. If you remember very well, in 2006, when Helen Zille became the mayor of the Western Cape, we had a coalition government with about 6 small political parties, and it worked. But what is important, we need to remember, we are the first political party in this country that really established a coalition government, and it worked. But what you need to understand, it is not an easy thing to manage a coalition government. But what happened in this municipality, coalition government, it failed not because of the system, because it's the system that is being practiced everywhere outside South Africa. The reason why it's failed specifically in this municipality, it is because of the corruption issues in this municipality. On the 3rd of August 2016, during the municipal election, the ANC lost power in this municipality. It is clear that the people or the voters of Metsimaholo, they've lost trust to the ANC. They wanted a change. They're sick and tired of the maladministration. Now, ANC, when they realized now they've lost power, they came through the back door. That's where they had a relationship with the MCA. If you remember very well, my brother, you are one of the people that came to interview me when we had a problem with MCA. The mayor decided to have a relationship with the ANC. The audio that I gave it to you, you came to our office. The audio, it was about the budget, how the ANC and MCA, they are going to steal money in this municipality, including the MCA and one of our former councillor who's around here today, Benny Mutib. You remember what happened? They said in that audio, they are going to take 6 million to upgrade the graveyard. Look at the budget of the municipality that we didn't approve. 6 million for upgrading the graveyard is there. They say they are going to say 7.4 million for upgrading the 1 kilometer road just in front of the graveyard. Exactly the same thing that on the audio are there. They wanted to take 4.5 million for 1 street light. If you remember, in this municipality, we have an informal settlement here. We call it Tamba Kubeka. That informal settlement has been there for 11 years. There is no street, there is no housing, there is no service delivery. But the money is being taken there.
Let me bring in April here quickly. April, was in hindsight, just looking at what has happened now, was it a bad choice for the EFF to go into a coalition with the DA, but quite specifically with the MCA, whom the DA is arguing has been in bed with the ANC?
The EFF is not part of any coalition. We have abstained, refused to be part of any coalition.
You're part of a voting bloc. You may not say that you're part of a coalition, but you're part of a voting bloc that got Silo Hlasa to become the mayor of this town. And now the DA, I guess the entire coalition that was in that government is crying foul. In hindsight, do you say, or must you probably stand here and say to the people of Metsimaholo that as the EFF, we apologize that we have voted for this man?
The EFF was doing that to deal with the arrogance of the ANC. The ANC of Metsimaholo was very arrogant. Because there are places such as Iraq. Iraq was established more than 14 years ago, but still those people, there are many wards of Iraq. It's Ward 1, 7, and Ward 13. They are still without flushing toilets. It's been 14 years. So the ANC was very much arrogant to deal with the matters of those people there at Ward 1, 7, and 13. So by choosing the DA, by voting with the DA for the mayor, it was the way of saving the public purse from the corrupt ANC. So we have been disappointed by the MCA by trusting the wrong person that went on to work with the ANC, that allowed the ANC to assist him to govern Metsimaholo. That's why this municipality now is at rerun, because we have refused to approve the budget of Metsimaholo for the ANC, because we know the public funds, they are not at the safe hands with the ANC and the MCA.
Why should the MCA get a second chance at the pie when the MCA was given an opportunity in 2016 and you got the 2 seats, and you had this political parties in opposition who said that we'll vote and we'll get your mayor to be the mayor, and your mayor has turned around and is defected now, he's joined the ANC?
Look, as a point of departure, we need to acknowledge the fact that our democracy has very much matured.
That's true.
As per the prescripts of the Chapter 2 of our Constitution, any person has a right to movement. He has the right to belong somewhere politically. So you have nothing to do as to whether Sillo Hlasa is defected back to the ANC. That is personal choice. But as the organization, it cannot be correct that we centralize an organization around an individual. Look, before there are leaders, there's an organization, and the organization shall always remain, whether there are individuals or not, whether leaders comes and go. But what is of a paramount importance is that the organization will always be there, and the organization will exist even after Comrade Hlasa is departed. It shouldn't be an issue as to say whether Comrade Hlasa is defected back to the ANC or not. That's his own personal choice, and MC has nothing to do with it.
But it is because of him that you are sitting here. It's because of him that you have an election that will be taking place on Wednesday.
Yes, look, maybe I should preface our discussion. We are not seated here because of Comrade Hlasa. We are only seated here because of the irresponsible councillors of the DA and EFF who had failed and absconded the council sittings. The only reason why we are seated here is because of the incapacitated councillors of the DA and EFF who have failed to understand what is local government. They have centralized what you call the IDP and budget around an individual who's called Hlasa. Hlasa was not a budget, Hlasa was not an IDP, but an IDP and budget is the needs of our people, not individuals.
Mujalifa, this is such a complicated issue. It's such a complicated issue, and the SACP is throwing itself into this. What some may say it's a misery. How would you fix it? How do you fix something like this?
That is why we say this is an unholy alliance, unholy coalition, which is why people of Metsimaholo must vote for South African Communist Party. Because this kind of coalition did not have a strategic objective as to say where do they want to take this municipality to. And that is why we say when people vote, they must vote Communist Party to completely take the leadership of this municipality. But one thing that we'll need to appreciate, we are not going to resolve this problem. When the Communist Party is leading this municipality, it's going to focus, among others, on issue of creation of employment of young people and women. That is what our focus is going to be, to create and facilitate an economic hub for Metsimaholo people. But secondly, it is to ensure that the morale of workers, there is no company, there is no department that will succeed if workers continue to be treated the way they are being treated in our locality.
Considering what has unfolded here, and considering what you've been watching from specifically the 3 organizations, where does the SACP stand in terms of getting into a coalition? Is there any potential partner that you see amongst actually the 4 candidates that are sitting here that you say that this is probably a political party that we might go into coalition with?
That will be a very unfair question because the behavior of this I'm saying that will be an unfair question because the behavior of these political parties, it shows the unwillingness to govern on
So
behalf
is it
of
a
the
yes or no, the SACP will not go into a coalition with any political
We
party?
are not in elections for coalitions. We are in
Is it a
elections.
yes or no? The EFF said the same thing before. They said that they're not in election to go into a coalition, and they ended up going into a voting bloc. They want to call it a voting bloc. They ended up doing that. So from the SACP side, are you saying that the SACP will not be going into any coalition or be it a voting bloc with any political party? The SACP will go at it alone.
No, the Communist Party is not going on its own as it is in the elections now. The answer is no, we are not going to coalitions. Our alliance, it is communities of Metsimaholo.
Thabo, the ANC has been governing this municipality ahead of the coalition that was formed. There have been various protests that have taken place in this area. One of those protests that I've covered here in this area is issues around service delivery and so forth. What is it that the ANC brings that's different? Why should the people of Metsimaholo trust the ANC yet again?
Now let us firstly correct that thing. Metsimaholo in its history, since 2000, it's one municipality where we had very less protest in terms of service delivery. And that is correct because we have been engaging on to. You can't even quote many of them like in many municipalities like Cape Town where we have...
But Metsimaholo was one of the municipalities in this country that has received qualified audits up until, 2015? It has been receiving qualified audits, and qualified audits point to an issue of non-service delivery. It means that the municipality hasn't been run properly.
Now, if you can check the report of Auditor General, you will find that Metsimaholo municipality is better off than many municipalities. Our books, it is there. If you want to investigate, can investigate it. The books of Metsimaholo municipalities are better off, and service delivery, it has been there. There were challenges, and we agreed that there were challenges. And as ANC, we said we must resolve these challenges that our people are facing.
I see that the audience are disagreeing with you. I want to see if we can quickly get one of the audience members to quickly give us a comment. And who do we have? Okay, let's ask this guy over here. You can stand up, sir. Okay, so he makes the argument that this municipality has been well run. What's your take on that?
That is not correct. Let me give you an example. From 2006 to 2016, that is 10 years, which means that is 2 terms of the council, which was under the ANC government. In that 10 years, not a single project, nothing was done in that 10 years. And we know that every term there's a budget. Nothing has been done in the entire municipality, except a road that was constructed by somebody who's maybe a tailor maker, not even a civil engineer. And except electricity that was connected in Iraq, nothing for 10 years was done in this municipality under the ANC.
So, Thabo, what do you make of that?
No, it's not correct, man. You can't claim that for the last 10 years we did nothing. Example, the very same multipurpose center, we engaged in partnership.
Okay, let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance to, yep.
The very same multipurpose center in partnership with Anglo-Cone, we managed to build it less than 4 years. In less than 4 years.
Why? Come stand up. Why? But why are you disagreeing with him?
When you enter,
you can stand up.
When you enter the township, there is a new building of municipality that we have built. We also built the residential units and houses there. We have done a lot of things in this municipality. More than 84 people are getting water. A lot of people are getting electricity. Yes, there are challenges somewhere, but we are prepared to resolve them.
What's your take on this?
He's lying and you can't point to a building that was built by Anglo-American. He must state what the ANC did in the 2 terms that he was talking about.
Okay, let's see. There's someone who has his hand up over here. He's from the Forum for Service Delivery. Okay. What's your comment?
I hate these philosophical answers, check.
I'm checking from Untate Thabo Mabasa until Untate Simangwede, and everyone there is just trying to pick head here. Ayikho lento ekhuluma laphayana. Lo masipala uchithwe iforum for service delivery ngotata ukhonto omnyamezele. When we went on by-elections kadi once February. So it needs to be clear that people must know ukuthi our so-called politicians there. Obabu Victor webeke kahle. Obabu Victor webeke kahle. It cannot be correct ukuthi bathu baribona ba-approve budget. No. 22,000 unregistered voters were recorded by the IEC Commission itself. There it states, they were not seeing any necessity to go into court, but rather to disband the municipality and have a rerun. I will not comment on any of what they've said. Utatu Mabasa is lying. They've built residential areas, of course, it was Sasol. But Forum for Service Delivery gave people their houses, not the other way around.
Sorry, unfortunately, we have to wrap it up for now. Let's just quickly go to an ad break, and when we come back, we're going to test one of the most contentious issues that this municipality faced. And this is about 3-4 years ago, when this municipality went on a violent protest, protesting against a demarcation board ruling that this municipality must merge with Mwate. Let's hear what these political parties have to say about that.
Today, on Rights and Recourse, we will unpack the new transitional court bill.
The idea of the bill is not to overregulate, to basically set the principles.
The most important aspect of this bill is that it understands that customary law, by its nature, is consensual. That I have a right to affiliate, I have a right, therefore, to opt in, and I have a right to opt out.
The opt-out provision is basically one that you've got to respect the court in the sense of if you've been summoned, you've got to tell the clerk of the court at least that you're not willing to attend.
The challenge that I would like to throw to the Department of Justice, it has to come up with mechanisms of ensuring that people who exercise their right to opt out or to opt in are not in any way victimized.
Hashtag Rights with Dumila Mates on legal issues every Sunday at 2 o'clock Central African Time.
A warm welcome to one of your favorite weekly review analysis programs, Media Monitor. So let's look at the race itself.
It's just becoming a personality contest where people just want somebody to guard their own vested interest. And I feel that the country is at a point now where we need some sort of change.
It is ANC policy that they will have to implement.
We fairly know the direction the ANC wants to take. As a leader, you have to implement.
So what was it like on the ground in Kenya?
Well, the country is divided. The country is very divided.
I think within the country, for me, the one person that I criticize severely, and I'm not very happy with his approach, is Raila Odinga, with him pulling out.
Stay tuned to Media Monitor and catch on analysts unpacking top stories every Sunday from 9 a.m. News, business, sports and weather from local and around the globe here on News Today.
It was important for me to nip all of these issues in the bud as they appear so that we can give the assurance to the holders of pensions.
South Africa has more than 24,000 plant species which can be used to generate income for her citizens.
People believe that we as Africans have very little to offer the world in terms of science and technology.
The 24-year-old was the last rider to be caught after a break of more than 180 kilometers in Sunday's men's elite race at the World Road Championships in Bergen, Denmark. Smith is also the African road race champion, the South African race champion and the South African time trial champion.
Tune in to News Today every Monday to Friday from 3 to 5:30 p.m.
Welcome back to the special edition of Special Assignment. We are live from the Henry Kwala Multi-Purpose Center in Zamdela, where we are looking at the rerun of the elections that will be taking place on Wednesday. And we have various political parties that are represented here. And just quickly, as we said just before we went to that short break, the issue that I actually wanted to raise with the panel here, and I'm going to start with you, Patricia, is the issue of the demarcation. A decision was taken by the Demarcation Board. I think it was 2012. In 2013, there were violent protests that took place in this area. The decision was to merge this municipality with the Ngwate municipality. The residents of Zamdela said no to that, and they took on a violent protest to make their anger known. What's the DA's take on this? Should this municipality be merged with Ngwate?
As the Democratic Alliance, we strongly believe it is not necessary, because the Demarcation Board and even the people of Metsimaholo, they've made their voice very clear. They want to stay independently. Because if you remember, this municipality is one of the municipalities that contribute to the provincial GDP of this province.
And I guess that's why it's this hotly contested, because even if you look at Sasol, for instance, it's one of the anchor industries here.
Exactly. You can see the intention here, it was not for how the people of Metsimaholo are going to benefit, but it was how the ANC cronies or those who are corrupt, they will benefit when they merge the municipalities.
Okay, let me just quickly bring in someone here from the SACP. Can you just quickly tell me what your take is, what the SACP's take is on merging these two municipalities?
Can I direct my question to the SACP, please?
Oh, you want to ask a question? Okay, that's fine.
I would like to hear from the SACP, what role did they play when the ANC has brutally dismissed the workers? So I want to know what role did they play and what got to them to be engaged with the workers?
Are these the 300 workers that were fired? Okay, Mujalifa?
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. The dismissal of workers led to the South African Communist Party, together with COSATU, fighting hand in hand in the alliance in the province for the return of workers, and that has not happened. And what has pushed us to fight for workers to return to work, it was the brutality and the misery that families have went. Some have lost their possessions, some have been evicted in their homes, some have lost their cars, marriages have ended. That is what has happened in these families. And as the Communist Party, we have constantly engaged at the alliance level, and that is why now we say the doors are closed to resolve these issues. Now the Communist Party must take it upon itself to resolve these issues.
The doors are closed, but the relationship is still intact between the ANC and the SACP. Just a quick comment here from anyone is there anyone available? Okay, the lady there at the back, you can stand up. Okay, just quickly give us your comment and probably your question that you have.
Thank you. My question is actually led to Me Patricia. Me Patricia, how do you monana and then umonana kaharas chaba utlo maka hore in 10 years there is nothing that the ANC has done. This surely shows that you are not from Metsimaholo. If DA had words, we would see a person from Metsimaholo sitting there. Number one, we would not see Me Patricia. And how utamona Me Patricia, do your research because the batuba how information is right. We get us a bla batu. And then another question, it's to Thabo Mabasa. Thabo Mabasa. Comrade Thabo Mabasa, for the ANC, what have you done so far? And what is it that is still yet to come from the ANC in Metsimaholo? Ki khutlela hape ntate hu EFF.
It's the last one.
Ki khutlela hu EFF. EFF ha ibua ka lefatshe, ibua ka budget e tshintshileng le DA. Empa EFF before ho ka qhalwa masipala ine le yona ene re batho ba ye mo dry. So how come taba tsa lona di sa kopana? Ke kopa le lokisa statement sa lona.
Okay, let's start with Patricia. Patricia, what's your comment? You are being accused of not speaking the truth. You are being accused that this municipality, the ANC has worked very hard. It's not true that over the past 10 years nothing has happened. You can go ahead, Patricia.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question properly.
The argument was that over the past 10 years, you are saying that nothing has happened. She's saying that this shows that you are lying. It shows that you are not from here because there has been development that has taken place. Your response to that?
I've been explaining this, this issue. Let me explain to the people of South Africa. Apparently, they don't understand the Constitution. It is actually a shame to that woman who's wearing the ANC colors today. That is the organization that represents the interest of people, that they respect people. But this is not what I'm seeing today. Because the very same ANC today, we're having 41% unemployment people in this municipality that are not working. About 3 million of the Free State province, it has been taken while she's still wearing the ANC colors here, taken to the Guptas to make a wedding while our people are hungry here. They have taken about 4.5 million for the dairy project. Today, our people are sitting here being hungry. You don't say anything. That is the thing. And I want to explain the reason. The reason why I'm here today, I'm here as the leader of the DA in the Free State. And I am here as a member of parliament. And I'm paid to work in any province. Tomorrow I can wake up and work in the Western Cape. Tomorrow the same day I can work in the Johannesburg. That's what I'm paid to do.
Patricia.
Wherever there are people of South Africa
I get the point.
Issues,
I get the point.
I'm here to help them. That is my responsibility.
I get the point. Let me just quickly ask Thabo then, just to quickly respond to that. Thabo, please, just in a couple of seconds, can you just quickly give us a list of what are the things that the ANC promises?
Yes, we have done a lot of things, but let me quote recent things before we got out of the government. One of the things we have started a program of paving our old locations. We have electrified Amelia. We have built state-of-the-art library in Orangeville. And there are many things that we can quote that we have done. We have built houses for the poor people in Nick Ferreira because we want to integrate our communities.
Okay, let me just quickly bring in an EFF supporter. You have a question that you want to ask quickly?
My question goes to the EFF. There's a lot of unemployment in Metsimaholo. There's poor services. There's high level of corruption. For instance, 9 million was taken to bury the former MEC of Health, Mefezi Ngube by the government led by the African National Congress. And that money, even up to today, is unaccounted up until today. I want to ask EFF, what will you do as EFF with challenges of unemployment, a number of things that I've talked about? My question is directed to Fighter April. How will you resolve these issues that our people are finding themselves within, which have basically ANC failed to resolve up until today?
April, a quick response to that? April, can you give us a quick response to that?
Thank you very much. For the issue of unemployment, the EFF is going to create quality jobs that are sustainable, quality jobs that can change the lives of the ordinary people. So we are going to ensure as EFF in Metsimaholo that we abolish tender system, tender processes, because we know tender processes, they are the ones that disturbs our people not to get proper jobs in their municipalities. We are going to ensure that people are hands-on in terms of the service delivery of their own municipality. For example, Metsimaholo is having a very serious problem of over billing system, of where people owe municipality a lot of money because the meter readings that are employed by the municipality, they are not the residents of Metsimaholo. They are employed from Parys and they still stay in Parys. So they are not even unable to read our meter systems, our water meter systems. So they don't even know the directions and the maps and the house numbers of the people of Metsimaholo. So to correct the wrong billing systems is to ensure that we employ people locally to read the correct meter readings on our
April, unfortunately, sorry, we have to cut you short there. We just need to go to a quick ad break. April, excuse me, we're going to come back to you after this quick ad break. Let's go to a quick ad break, and when we come back, April will complete his sentiment, but we'll also look into why is it that the EFF doesn't have a councillor, yet they contested the elections back in 2016, and why is it that more people are going to residents' associations?
Meningitis is a potentially deadly disease that affects more than 1 million people worldwide each year.
Well, it's an infection of the lining of the brain and the spinal cord. And it's caused by a variety of bacteria.
And also, importantly, with fungal meningitis, there's no transmission from person to person.
In South Africa and elsewhere in the world, the ministries of health etc. have recognized this as an important disease to prevent. And vaccines have been introduced into immunization, routine immunization programs.
It's really important to prevent, and the best way to prevent is to have people know their HIV status, start antiretroviral treatment as soon as possible.
For all your health news, join Health Talk every Saturday from 9 to 10.
Welcome back. A special edition of Special Assignment ahead of the Metsimaholo rerun of elections that will be taking place on Wednesday. Various political parties that we've been engaging with here. And just quickly, before we went to an ad break, April was just wrapping up your comment. And then we're going to get some few questions here from the audience. April, just quickly wrap up the comment that you're making earlier on about what the EFF plans to do.
Okay, issue of lack of proper services in Metsimaholo.
Yep, you can continue.
I must wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to ensure that there are proper services in Metsimaholo. The first thing we are going to do as EFF in Metsimaholo is to ensure that we beautify our beautiful Metsimaholo and our beautiful Zamdela by installing the street lights, by ensuring that we construct a quality tie roads, by ensuring that we construct sidewalks, by ensuring that each and every ward is having a 24-hour operating clinic, by ensuring each and every clinic is having a standby and emergency vehicle, by also ensuring that each and every
April,
ward...
you're being unfair now. Oh, guy, no. But you've been going on and on. Let me just quickly bring in this guy here from the SACP. What's your comment or question?
My question will be directed to my fellow comrade Mujalefa from the Communist Party. As we all know, that this municipality is one of the municipalities in the Free State economically viable. My question is Comrade Mujalefa. But before I start asking that question,
but you need to be sure.
As SACP, Compton 29th, the SACP will be in power. So I'm asking this question to say, when we take over from the 29, which companies locally SACP is going to work with to improve economy of this municipality and to ensure that
Okay, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut you there. I'm going to ask everyone that who's going to be asking questions and making comments to keep it short. Mujalefa, can you just quickly respond to that? Keep it short as well.
Yeah, thanks. We will know that the South African Communist Party, it's a party that believes in cooperative systems. And cooperative systems, it is important that we establish the cooperative movement in South Africa. You will remember that the economy of Spain...
I guess the question directly is, how does the SACP get involved in a capitalist system?
No. That is why I'm saying the Communist Party believes in the cooperative systems, because it's a necessary system that will respond to the conditions that capitalism itself is creating in our communities. So it will not advance and promote the deepening of capitalism, which is already in crisis on its own. So we'll go for alternative economic system.
Okay, so quick one.
My question is directed to Mr. Thabo Mabasa of the ANC. Let me first acknowledge the good job that the ANC government has done. In Amelia, there are RDP houses which has got electricity and solar geysers. Mr. Thabo Mabasa, now that Sosol, it is like an area where there is a huge influx of people or migration. I'm coming to the question of housing. For we people who doesn't qualify on RDP houses and who doesn't also have access to bond, or people who also doesn't qualify to bond. So what do you have for us? Because we've been renting for so long.
Okay, Thabo, quick one on that.
No, thank you for the question. As the ANC, before we got out of the municipality, we had a plan to take our people to Moitrai first and mix them in terms of those people who don't qualify for the RDPs and those who qualify. But secondly, we have bought a land in Vonofontein where we have more than 7,000 stands, and that is where we are going to mix and integrate our people there so that everybody, including those who don't qualify for the RDPs, those who are working, the middle people who are working, so that they can get their houses and build their houses, or at least have something there.
Okay.
Good day. I think you failed us horribly. We're in Metsimaholo.
Who's that directed to?
It's directed to the ANC. We're sitting with all these people. We all need houses. We all need water. You guys, it's got one fire engine to service the whole of Orangeville. We've had people dying in the Naisville, 2 house fires. You wait for Sasol, we received a nice fire engine. How many traffic vehicles do you have? You need to place that in order to serve the community, healthcare and emergency services. 1 fire engine.
I don't know, Thabo, if you'd be able to respond to that. I don't know if you'd be able to respond.
Thank you for the question. As the ANC, one of the issues that we have addressed, we have addressed that issue, and we are continuing to address it.
Would you be able to tell us how many,
we have hired students to work on fire department. They are working from this center.
How many traffic vehicles do you have at the moment?
Come again?
How many traffic vehicles do you have at the moment? How many fire engines does this municipality have at the moment?
Yes, we've got 1, and we budgeted, that budget that was rejected, that budget that was rejected wanted to cover that thing.
This municipality of 55,000 houses has 1 fire engine.
I'm saying that budget wanted to cover those things. We've got 1 here.
But right now, at the moment,
in town.
At the moment.
Let me explain. We've got 1 here in multipurpose center. We've got another 1 in town. And we've got another 1 that is roving between Sasolburg and Danielsville and Orangeville. But lastly, the budget was covering the issue of 1, opening a fire station in Danielsville. Secondly, buying another fire engine.
Okay. I need to comment first, and my comment is actually going to the DA. They seem to be the master of coalition, as they say. But what they didn't put in perspective is the fact that where they claim coalition, they're actually the leader of that coalition. And in this case, what happened in Metsimaholo, because why did it collapse amongst other things? Because they wanted to lead the coalition. And since then, the fact that they couldn't lead the coalition, that's where they started to reject MCA.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap there. We've come to the end of this special edition of Special Assignment here in Metsimaholo. As this municipality goes through a rerun of the elections that will be taking place on Wednesday. The polling stations opening at 7 o'clock and closing at 9 o'clock in the evening. Please do make sure that you go and vote. And if you have friends and family who live in the area, please do encourage them to be part of this democratic process. Thank you so much for being part of the show. And thank you as well to these audience as well as the political parties. Good evening. Goodbye.
I got my funeral planned from Ashupol. You should too. Ashupol is so in tune when it comes to senior citizens. I might not be a youngster anymore, but I had no problems in being accepted by Ashupol at my age.
My father is above 60 years old.